Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And we're back in action here. This was quite an interesting episode of NXT. We got some storyline development with some of the undercard, some women's feuds, I guess, being teased in the future, some interesting things there, and a phenomenal tag team main event. I mean, Ashton, what did you think of it?
You know, I normally I would not want to say this because it would imply something negative, but I'm glad that we're back to NXT being normal. And the main reason I say that is because we had NXT Revolution, and that was absolutely incredible. And then the week after that, we had another amazing, over-the-top episode of NXT with Kevin Owens and Adrian Neville going at it and all that crazy stuff. And then last week, we had our kind of year-in review kind of show. And on top of the 2014 review, we also got another amazing women's match in Sasha versus Charlotte, too. So this felt like par for the course for NXT. And that I don't want that to come off as me trying to say that this was a bad show, because it wasn't. This was a great show, but the point here is that this was a great show, but this is about what I expect from a typical NXT. So for those of you that have only been watching since NXT Revolution, if you enjoyed this show, this is about what you can expect every week.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this show, even more so than the year-end review, what was a good cool-down period, a nice transitory period for what's to come in the future. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this. So, with that said, let's get right into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And I have 0 heats of the night tonight. I found nothing on this show offensive. Ashton, do you have any heats of the night tonight?
Absolutely not. This was a good show from beginning to end.
All right, then let us get right into our NXT review. And if my memory is correct, Ashton, we open up with the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Lucha Dragons,
facing off with the team of Jason Jordan and Ty Dillinger.
Aw, yeah.
Who is over with the NXT crowd.
He is. The crowd's really taking a liking to Dillinger. I like the heel work from Jordan and Dillinger whenever we get to see him in the heel role, which seems to be quite more frequently. I guess they just abandoned completely the idea of these guys being baby faces. Did a good job of cutting the ring in half. Ty Dillinger especially, I'm starting to really get what you see in him, because he had a great heelish moment when he looked to Sin Cara and he did his taunt, mockingly, to kind of get the referee to, deal with Sin Cara so that he can, drive his knee in the throat of Kalisto. So some great, by the books heel tactics here from Jordan and Dillinger that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man. And Jordan, I got to give Jordan, normally I'm all talking about how amazing Ty Dillinger is. And the fact that you gave him credit, to me, kind of justifies my love for him, because it's like, I'm not the only one shouting from this rooftop. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But I do want to give Jordan some credit, too. He had some really, really impressive power offense in this match, and that's what really stood out to me.
What I'm curious about with these two, I mean, you and I have talked about briefly on past episodes, we know the Shoot Nation is coming. We know that Jordan is among the members of the Shoot Nation, so I'm wondering what cracks are going to appear between Jordan and Dillinger, because Dillinger is not a part of that group. He got left out in the cold. Right. So I'm wondering how this group is going to dissolve. And mainly the even bigger question doesn't even really have to do with the Shoot Nation, but Mr. Dillinger himself. Where does he go from here? I do
want to say something, though, about the Shoot Nation.
Sure.
I believe that there is a very distinct possibility that the Shoot Nation could be a live event only faction.
Interesting.
That won't actually end up showing up on NXT.
Yeah, that's a very interesting idea. I mean, I certainly wouldn't put it past NXT. I would like to see them on TV, because you know how I was kind of raving over it. It seems right up my alley. But if it's just to live events, that's fair enough. I mean, NXT's got a fine tag division, so if they ever put in interest in Jordan and Dillinger, like I say about Team Thick, I think they've got all the tools to really make a worthwhile program with whoever they're feuding with. And Dillinger and Jordan, singles competitors, especially, again, Dillinger. It's those little things, like that taunt with Sin Cara. I really took notice, and I'm like, wow, this is a guy that knows the basics of working a matchup and working a crowd. But now
he has a lot of very natural charisma.
Definitely. And I think the only reason we're talking about them so much is that when you look on the other side of the coin, being the Lucha Dragons, I mean, what can you say that hasn't already been said?
Yeah, I mean, it's another case of being able to say, oh, they're par for the course, and not meaning it in a negative connotation whatsoever. The Lucha Dragons are amazing every time they're on TV, so even saying par for the course is a massive compliment for them.
Absolutely. I mean, I loved how the hot tag was made here because I believe it was Dillinger in the ring with Kalisto. He tried to back body drop him, but he landed on his feet, and he had like enough elevation to, make the tag to Sin Cara. Sin Cara did absolutely excellent. He may have botched a little bit with one maneuver because I heard the crowd kind of getting on his case, but if he did, I really only took notice because of the crowd, so he did a good job of covering it up. NXT crowds are just relentless, man. They're like that old school ECW crowd to me. That's the comparison I often like to make. And that victory roll kind of power bomb.
Yes.
Finisher, so good. I love it.
That's something that he's been doing for a long time. I can trace that back to FCW, man.
Yeah, and see, I feel like he's only broken it out on NXT like this past couple of months. Well, you know, when they are on TV.
I mean, even when you go back before NXT, but not as far back as FCW, he used it quite a few times when he was feuding with Ted DiBiase on SmackDown.
Right.
And he used to wrestle a lot on like Superstars and Main Event, and maybe he still does, just not as Sin Cara, be as Hunico. But he uses it on those shows too. It's one of the more commonly used moves in his kind of arsenal.
Right. I'm telling you, I'm definitely among those who are just clamoring for a Lucha Dragons versus Balor and Itami Dream Tag Team bout. I think those four guys could tear it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to when that day arrives because I do believe it will arrive. So yes, Lucha Dragons get the win after Sin Cara's again that victory roll kind of off the top rope, that avalanche victory roll. So Yes, but then, as they're celebrating...
Everything changed when the Vaudevillains attacked.
Yes, and they did indeed. I really like seeing this side of them, the more, aggressive pursuit, really taking it to the Lucha Dragons. They even, I believe it was on, I want to say Sin Cara, that they hit Gentleman's Congress, which, for the record, I know they've renamed, but first of all, I can't even remember what the name is, and two, I just think Gentleman's Congress sounds so much better. So, they hit it there, and, English actually grabs one of the tag titles. I wanted them both to grab the titles and pose with them, but only English kind of did, and Gotch just kind of looking there all furious with that mustache. So they mean business. I'm really thinking that the rematch will probably take place on next week's episode, and if so, this is a nice way to really lay the final brick for this road here. I really like this.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that does kind of frighten me, I don't want the Vaudevillains to take the titles off the Lucha Dragons, because just from a pure match standpoint, I want the Lucha Dragons to be the champions for a while.
Definitely. I mean, even me, and you know how crazy I am about the Vaudevillains, I would pop if they won, but looking at it, the logistics of it and everything.
Right. I mean, if we look back at when the Ascension held the titles, they would wrestle 2 or 3 times a month, but they were all squash matches against local talent. I would be happy if the Lucha Dragons only wrestled once a month as champions, as long as they held the titles for a while, because I just love watching these guys go at it.
I love watching them go at it, and like I said, when you look at it logistically, I want this team to have enough credibility this way when they do have, because again, I really do believe a matchup between them and Balor and Itami is down the road. Yeah. I want these guys to carry that credibility to where you and guys like you and myself are asking ourselves, can they pull off the win? Can they beat these guys? Yeah. So yeah, they definitely need to go over the Vaudevillains next week. So.
Oh, is that next week for sure?
I'm thinking it'll be next week after this attack. I would really think that they're going to pencil it in there. That's just my assumption, though. I can't. Yeah.
I think, from what I understand, that match is in 2 weeks.
Well, then hopefully Lucha Dragons retaliate and we get a nice story going into the finale between these two teams. So. I mean,
either one of us could be wrong. We could not get that match for a while, but I hope you're right. I genuinely, I hope that the rematch is next week, because that'll be very interesting. And afterwards, we had a backstage segment involving Bull Dempsey and CJ Parker.
Yeah, CJ, I think he's just trying to get himself hyped up. He does have a match with Baron Corbin. Bull Dempsey comes in and he says, no, look, I'm here to help you so you don't get humiliated by Corbin again. And CJ Parker just repeatedly tells Dempsey, you know, I don't care. I don't care what's going on between you and Baron. I need to beat Baron Corbin. He's like, no, you don't need to beat him. You just need to humiliate him. This isn't about you. This isn't about me. It's about the greater good. So, you know.
Can I just say, this was the worst produced NXT segment I've seen in such a long time.
You know, for me, Ashton, it wasn't even like it was necessarily terrible or anything. It was just awkward.
It's like they were given a script.
Right.
And they were told to improvise a little bit. And the improvisation was just awful. And they were talking over each other. And really, to top it all off, freaking Bull Dempsey with the ultimate 12-year-old kid trying to pretend that he's a professional wrestler cutting a promo line with, oh, it's for the greater good. Or like the old standby of, well, you might defeat me, but you'll never know what I'm working for, and that kind of thing. It's just
right.
Grow up.
Oh, man. Can Bull ever catch a break? Spoiler alert, the answer's probably no.
Well, I mean, Bull would be able to catch a break if he wasn't so terrible at everything.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
I mean, it's gotten to the point that even existing is a challenge for him.
Oh my god, to use an old line from you, suck less, Bull Dempsey.
Yeah.
So yeah, nothing more to really say about this. I mean, though I will say, too, because wasn't the Baron Corbin, CJ Parker matchup after this? So, like, they immediately transition, right?
No,
I thought it was an immediate transition. Well, damn.
No, because up next we had Enzo Amore and Big Cat.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And they come out and they start cutting a promo and teasing Blue Pants, and eventually the payoff happens and we get Blue Pants and she's going against Carmella, I believe, for the third time. NXT. And might be the third time they go against each other, but it's the first time that we got the result we got.
Yeah. Enzo's on the apron. He's kind of, cheerleading for Carmella up close and personal. Carmella doesn't take kindly to this. She gets caught off guard. Blue Pants gets the inside cradle, and she gets the 3 count. Blue Pants freaking wins.
Yeah, and honestly, I love what they're doing with this because it's working. And when I say it's working, I don't just mean that they're getting Carmella over as a heel because they want to. They're getting Carmella over as a heel even in the eyes of people that still don't realize she's even supposed to be a heel. Like, people on Reddit and the people that we talk to on Facebook and YouTubers, there are still a lot of people that aren't kind of in on the fact that Carmella is a freaking heel. Like, they think, oh, well, she's with Enzo and Big Cass, so obviously we're supposed to cheer for her, but I don't like her, so I'm not going to cheer for her, and I'm a rebel. You're not a rebel. She's supposed to be a freaking heel.
For me, I kind of picked up on it, even if you look at her in-ring tactics, like, because even before Blue Pants got the cradle, I mean, Carmella did tactics like stepping on Blue Pants' hair and pulling her up.
And even if you go as far as, like, her entrance and her mannerism, she's basically a poor man's Sasha Banks on that front.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm hoping, and you know what, I actually did get more confidence in that result after this, that, again, Enzo and Big Cass are going to be like, bro, what are we doing? Let's just, put her out of the wayside. Our friendship's more important because, yeah, she really tried to unload on Enzo, but Big Cass was restraining her. And yeah, Blue Pants got the win.
I freaking love Enzo, dude. The way that he was like chopping at her face and like trying to like run backwards away from her, it was amazing.
Yeah, Enzo is so good. And can I say too, just real quick, Blue Pants is so ridiculously over. I can't even believe we're still referring to her as Blue Pants. Does she even have a name? Like, I don't even know what to call her.
You know what, dude? She does. She goes by a different name on the indies that's a little bit more well-known, but I forget what it is. Let me look it up. You keep talking.
But yeah, like, she's so over, guys, with the NXT crowd. So over.
Leva Bates.
Leva Bates?
Yeah, it's Leva Bates.
Leva Bates. Okay. She is so over, guys, that overness actually carried over into a later segment, which we'll get to. But I think if NXT handles this correctly, which, I mean, come on, they're tracking.
She was trained by the Dudley Boys.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if NXT handles this right, we could have a real babyface women's wrestler on our hands. In fact, I mean, I hate to go there, but I mean, depending on what else Blue Pants is capable of, because we really don't know yet. I mean, Bayley may have to start sweating a bit, because I've said for a while that I think Bayley's really cooled down.
Do you remember a few weeks ago we had Mia Yim on, and I think she went against Charlotte in an exhibition style match.
Yeah.
Leva Bates and Mia Yim are very, very close friends, and they've actually held the Shine Wrestling Tag Team Championships together.
Nice.
And in this year, as a matter of fact, PWI ranked Leva Bates as the number 31 out of the female 50.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so she's been around as far as the indies go. She's not some, like, I guess a good comparison actually would be Sasha Banks, because before she got to WWE, she was kind of well known at her local indie as Mercedes KV, but she didn't have that, like, global acclaim, or I guess national in this case, acclaim.
Right.
Leva Bates, though, she's pretty well acclaimed from a national level.
Yeah, again, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I think
she's been in Shimmer too. That's a big one.
Yeah, that's a big one right there. I even recognize it. I never really formally watched it, but I recognize it. But yeah, I mean, again, I hate to be that guy, but if I'm Bayley, I'm kind of sweating a bit, because this crowd is really taken to Leva Bates as Blue Pants. I mean, hell, you almost have to worry, like, if she ever changes the color of the pants, does that constitute a heel turn? Like, is the crowd just gonna be like, what's going on? But yeah,
she comes out in blue rip-off style pants, and she rips them off, and it's just like a red shorts underneath instead.
It's like, why, Blue Pants? Why? We trusted you.
But then people start chanting red shorts, red shorts.
It's like she's always forever going to be known for the color of her ring attire.
Yeah, I'm genuinely curious as to what kind of name they're going to give her if they do.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, oh my god, dude, can you imagine if they actually just went Blue Pants? I mean, they've got.
Well, she had a nameplate tonight, and it said Blue Pants.
Oh god.
Did you catch that?
I didn't catch that. No.
When she was coming out, she had a freaking nameplate, and all it said was Blue Pants. That's it.
Oh my god, dude!
Yeah.
Can you imagine in the record books?
Yeah.
NXT Women's Champion, Blue Pants. What the heck?
Yeah.
It's
freaking from ECW. They had like I forget what it was. There was Bulldog number 2, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, she really does seem to be hot with this crowd, and I'm curious where that goes. In fact, I gotta say, I'm far more invested in that story than Carmella, because we already kind of knew about Carmella for a while.
See, but dude, that's the thing. That's the thing. Carmella is doing such a great job of being a heel that it's gotten Blue Pants over to this point.
Yeah, it really has. I mean, we have to give credit where credit is due. I still don't know, like, the extent that Carmella can compete, because her matches are always, relatively short and things like that. But as far as the character and working the crowd and getting that heat, she's done fantastic.
She is the Rusev of NXT. No matter who you put across from her, that person's going to get cheered.
Yeah, it's wonderful, really.
It's like back in the day when we had Bo Dallas as champion and the Ascension as tag champs, and we got let's go this guy and let's go these guy chants.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the mark, I think, of a great heel, when no matter your opposition, whether they reside in obscurity or they are well known, I mean, the crowd is behind them. So, great stuff.
Yeah. All right. Up next, we had Baron Corbin versus CJ Parker.
Okay, now I can say what I wanted to say a few segments ago. All right. It seems like the crowd, once again, we have another product slowly but surely kind of supporting CJ Parker here. I saw some people in the crowd doing his pose with the fingers and bowing their heads. So, yeah, I wonder if CJ's starting to turn a little bit of a corner. It's just a shame that he doesn't have enough of a presence on the television product to really know for sure if that's the case. Loved his sign tonight. You may break my sign, but you'll never break my spirit. Classic CJ. And yeah, I mean, then Baron Corbin comes out. We see Bold MC watching from the audience, and this matchup, Ashton, took 34 seconds.
Yeah, it's a shame it took him so long.
Yeah, but I loved how they played it up, because it seemed like Baron Corbin could have finished CJ Parker a lot quicker on any other night.
But he was distracted by Bull.
Yeah, definitely very preoccupied with Dempsey. Plus, I actually, as much as I love the counter and everything, I love when they do go a little bit longer because you get to see at least one or two more moves from Baron Corbin because he's still so mysterious on that front too, and he nailed a wicked boot to Parker's face.
Can I just say though, and this has nothing to do with what we're talking about now, but it's something I forgot to mention in our last segment.
Sure.
Blue Pants theme song is actually Colin Cassidy singing the Wheel of Fortune theme.
Yeah, that's Price is Right going on there with
that's
with
what it was.
Price
Price is Right, not Wheel of Fortune. Yeah.
Yeah, and
like seriously, it's amazing.
I hope when she gets a more formal theme, like maybe that's like the intro part of the theme, and then it goes to like something else. Like I don't know, it'd be great. But yeah, dude, Corbin dominating Parker. I love the boot. The end of days. Fantastic. I think it's one of the best finishers just in WWE right now. In fact, I mean, depending on what it does, it could be our finisher of the year for 2015 because I just think it looks devastating. It's gotten the wins. And yeah, just Baron Corbin stock just keeps being on the rise.
I think the only thing that it's missing at this point is a big win, really. Somebody who you can't really classify as a jobber, which I know you're looking at Bull Dempsey, Baron, but he's still a jobber, so you need to go higher than that too.
Exactly. Like if he were to beat, I mean, hell, I'd even say like a Tyson Kidd at this point, given who he's worked with, Tyler Breeze, just somebody like that with end of days, then yeah, that finisher has definitely arrived.
Yeah.
So yeah, then after the match, he actually grabs a microphone, and everybody was waiting with bated breath, like, oh, he can talk, and
kinda.
Exactly, and that was the end result. He said, "Are you just gonna sit there, or are you gonna fight?" And he confronts Bull, actually grabs him by the hair and pulls him over the security railing, which I've
and normally it would be that like really flashy, like he grabs him and then he completely flips him over the rail, but it's Bull Dempsey and he's not athletic enough to pull that off, so he just kind of dragged him over the rail like the fat kid trying to get over the fence.
Oh god. And then they start brawling and exchanging soup bones, so to speak, to use a Taz term, and refs break them up. And I will say this: whether we like Bo and love Corbin or whatever our relationship dynamic is with these guys, the crowd seems to want these guys to go at it because there was a "let them fight" chant going on.
Yep. So
yeah, good stuff.
Absolutely, yeah. And then the let them fight chant is really a great sign that this is going to work, like you said, is whether we love or hate these two guys, this is working. So
they've got their hook, they've got their hook, and now they just can't lose it.
And it's in deep.
Exactly. So,
all right. Up next, we had an interview. We had a couple interviews actually. The first one was William Regal, and he announced that Sami Zayn's coming back next week, which is awesome. But he got interrupted by one Curtis Axel, who is reminding William Regal that he still wants to reinvigorate his career through NXT, to which William Regal says, well, that's how you want to be. You have a match next week with Hideo Itami.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that match.
I love that a match with Hideo Itami is adjacent to punishment in the NXT world.
That's great. Ashton, and just to kind of emphasize your point a little bit here, I think it's so comforting because so many people were worried, given the history of Japanese wrestlers in WWE. How are they going to handle Hideo? How is he to be treated?
I just love it, though, because it's like, oh, well, you want to be on NXT? I'm going to put you in the ring with the guy who is going to hurt you more than anyone else I possibly could. You might win, but no matter what, whether you win or lose, you are going to walk out of that match in more pain than you can ever imagine.
Exactly. I mean, from his theme, which I know a lot of people were relieved it wasn't some kind of J-pop crap.
Well, the intro is kind of stereotypical, but that when the hook hits, when the real, like when the bass drops, like it's not actually that, but you know what I mean.
Exactly, and from his debut where he just like tore apart the Ascensions, I feel like they've handled Hideo very well, and I completely agree with you. The idea that that's kind of the mentality they have with Hideo, like, okay, we're just going to put you through the ringer, is wonderful.
That's like back in the day when somebody was like, come on, man, I want a match tonight. What are you doing? I want a match. And they'd be like, okay, fine. You get a match with the Big Show.
Yeah, exactly.
Or more recently it would have been Khali.
Yeah.
It's like a punishment match. It's like, okay, you annoyed the GM. Now you're going to go in a match that you don't want to actually be in. And it's like Axel sold it like he didn't even realize how big of a deal it kind of is. But Regal, you could tell he was just smiling in the back of his mind. It's like, oh, Axel, you have no idea what you're about to go through.
And what's so brilliant, because it's so funny that you named the two examples that you did, because Itami is completely antithetical to those two guys,
Right.
Big Show and Khali,
Yeah.
and yet he still carries that same effect. So it just shows you the kind of wonderful age we found ourselves in pro wrestling.
Itami so far in NXT is booked the exact way that Tajiri should have been booked on the main roster.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
I mean,
exactly.
they called him the Japanese buzzsaw, but they certainly didn't treat him like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They treated him like the freaking Japanese powder puff girl.
Damn. So, yeah, Curtis Axel, Hideo Itami next week should be a great matchup.
Yes, absolutely. All right, and then we had another interview. This time it was Charlotte. And, dude, I want to like Charlotte. I really do. But she makes it so incredibly difficult when she does this crap where she sends the mixed messages where it's, I'm going to be a heel and assert my dominance and tell the crowd to shut up, but then I'm going to be a babyface and tell everybody that I'm going to defend my championship and be a good girl and this kind of stuff. Like, seriously, I understand that she's relatively new, but she grew up in the business. Even if you didn't kind of pick up the in-ring stuff because you're not physically doing it, you can at least pick up the way to properly cut a promo. And the mixed messages thing just does not work.
Honestly, if I had any nitpick about the show, this would have been it.
Yeah, because it was like, at first we were like, oh, well, I guess she's back to being heel again. And then she keeps on going, and it's like, oh, she's not full-on heel, she's just bipolar?
Yeah, it really annoys me, because I'm with you. I want to like Charlotte. I do think there's an upside there, maybe not nearly as much as everybody would like to think, and we had that discussion on our award show, Sasha Banks for life. But yeah, pick a side, stick with it. You know, you've got Alicia Fox syndrome going on, but it's not even like, oh, you're just competing in matches fitting a certain mold. No, it's your personality, which makes it 10 times worse.
Well, and that's the thing, like, at least Alicia Fox, whether she's a heel or a face, she acts like a heel or a face. It's just that she switches so much.
Right.
Whereas Charlotte is kind of trying to work both angles, and it doesn't work, Charlotte.
Well, it doesn't work because, you're this babyface that I think people respect because you go out and you put on clinics with other women.
See, but I think that the WWE or NXT really does need to kind of decide that, though. Is she a face who is just like a sweetheart and people respect her and she's kind of earned the crowd's respect and so she's just like a human being at this point who will face challengers and that kind of stuff? Or is she a heel who is like this stuck-up, greedy, born with a silver spoon in her mouth kind of jerk? And in that case, then asserting your dominance to the crowd would make sense.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing. When she says, don't interrupt the genetically superior athlete when she's talking, so,
I was
be quiet.
genuinely surprised. I was genuinely surprised, though, how articulate she was when she said that. Because I was expecting her to botch something, and she didn't. And that in itself was impressive.
Yeah, it was impressive. I just wish it was appropriate. And it really caught me off guard. I think it kind of caught the crowd off guard too, because they did start to boo. So I don't know where she's going, but then she goes on to talk about how and by the way, she only told the crowd to do that. I did want to mention this because they were chanting for Blue Pants to be the next contender because Devin had the lead-in question of what's next for Charlotte after beating Sasha Banks. So that just shows you how over Blue Pants is, again, as if we couldn't emphasize that enough.
Yeah.
So, Charlotte starts to answer, well, I beat Sasha Banks twice, and before she could go on, I guess, to name what she would like to do next, Sasha's music hits, and she interrupts, and the crowd actually kind of pops her, which makes me wonder if they're having this struggle with Charlotte. I mean, I know you mentioned a scenario where they could turn Sasha babyface. I'm wondering if that may happen, because Sasha's definitely earned a lot of respect with the NXT crowd, given her recent performances. But she goes on to say, yeah, Charlotte, you have beaten me twice. You're so smart. I loved it. And,
that just reminded me of something that, like, somebody that has literally no better insult to say would be like, you're so smart. And just be like, that's just like the jealous, just, oh, screw you for saying something.
yeah, but Sasha Banks does it so perfectly, though.
Well, yeah, but she's also perfect with everything else, too, so.
That's so true. And pretty much warn Charlotte, get ready for the beatdown of your life.
You can bank on it.
You can bank on it, yeah. And before they can commence with it, Charlotte gets aid.
Dude, that sigh is so indicative of this entire segment.
I know, because then Natalya comes out. Because, oh my god! We got a Hart and a Flair tagging up with each other. Yeah.
I am so glad JBL doesn't do that for NXT.
I honestly, like, I get it. Natalya is this great in-ring worker.
We're second generation superstars on Wednesday nights, Michael.
Yeah, I know, right? And I get it. I get everything that people would probably say about Natalya, but it's just when she came out, I was so deflated because I'm like, oh no, are we gonna do? Which I guess isn't really a bad thing considering how much they killed it at Takeover. But are we really gonna get Charlotte and Natalya too? I was kind of hoping for that fatal four-way fantasy booking you and I came up with. You know, Bayley, Sasha Banks, and Becky Lynch. And now Natalya's finding herself in the mix again. So she comes out, Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch retreat, and then they're like, we'll do it when we're ready. That's right, Sasha. Don't let them see you sweat.
It was so good, too, because it's like she never stopped cutting her promo. Because she was like, we're going to give you the beating of your life. And then she dropped the mic, but she never really stopped the promo. She just put the mic down for a second. And then when Natalya came out, she grabbed the mic and she said, when we're ready.
So
it's like the ultimate ellipses, and she just continued her sentence, and it was a to be continued, and then she came back to it and was like, yeah, I wasn't done. When we're ready.
You know what though, like, again, with the mixed messages with Charlotte, like, I have to ask, like, are her and Natalya going to be able to coexist when this tag match happens? Are the heels, the alleged heels of Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch going to go over? So there is a level of intrigue there. I just really wanted Sasha Banks to be NXT Women's Champion. It seems like it's getting away from us, so, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now we have our main event.
Oh, wait. Well, before that, don't we have to talk about Kevin Owens? Because
yes, the interview.
Kevin Owens, and we had a Sami Zayn recorded message that he sent in.
Yeah, so, I guess. I wasn't really going to talk about that. If you want to, go ahead, though.
I mean, I guess it was pretty by the books. Just said all I can think about is Kevin Owens is beat down, but he will be, back soon enough to address everybody, and especially Kevin Owens. So that was pretty much that. But then Kevin Owens' interview beforehand with Renee, that was some good stuff. Because Kevin Owens just continues to be just an absolute utter douche.
He's the perfect heel.
He really is. He's sitting down, and I really thought we were going to get really into the psyche of Kevin Owens.
You had dreams.
I did. I really did. And Renee's like, so, why don't you explain why you came out and you ruined Sami Zayn's moment? And he's like, well, he got his moment. He won the NXT Championship. You can't really ask for a bigger moment than that. And then Renee tries to, press the issue, but, you turned on him. This is a friend you've known all your life. And then this is where Kevin Owens shows his brilliance. Cause what did he say exactly? He said, I've only known him for 12 years, so I don't know where you got your math. Oh, he said, I'm 30. And I've only known him for 12 years, so I don't know where you got your math.
Yeah.
And if you're going to breathe down my neck and accuse me like this, then I guess this interview's over. And he just walks off.
Yeah. And if you're just going to ask me about how I stole things, I'm just going to...
Yeah, exactly. So good.
Oh, so good. And then Renee was just sat there like, wow, he is such a dick.
I know. It's so good because Kevin Owens is a guy that not only is he apologetic... And look, I love...
How are you going to say he's apologetic?
Well, no, he's not apologetic. That's what I said. He's not apologetic.
I think you said not only is he apologetic.
No, he's not apologetic, which I love. Like, he doesn't apologize for his actions. And more importantly, as much as I do love Triple H with the authority now that he's really embraced being a heel and what he's done with NXT, he doesn't even go on these tangents about, I'll do this and I'll do that. No, he's just very straight to the point. In fact, maybe even less so, because that was incredibly succinct. I just love how he's really keeping everything to himself. He's not even allowing that vulnerability of
he's
his
keeping
words
his
being
cards close to his chest.
Exactly, and I love it. I definitely want to keep seeing more of that from Kevin Owens, so good stuff.
Absolutely. All right. Did you want to talk about the Sami Zayn thing?
No, I already said what I wanted to about it, so that's fine.
All right. Main event time.
What a tag match this was.
Can I just say, the video that we watched NXT on this week was like 44 minutes long, and this started at like 29, I think, 28 minutes. So this was a solid like 13 to 16 minute match, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, which was great.
And dude, the psychology was so there.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
so on point.
From very early on when they tried doing their double drop kicks in the corner, the low corner drop kicks, the Ascension got out of the way, so they had like their last match, pretty telegraphed, because last time they connected with it, this time the Ascension saw it coming. Crowd is still ridiculously hot for Finn Balor. My God, if he doesn't scream top babyface one day, I don't know what does. So he's ridiculous. Loved the dynamic of Itami and Balor with their offense, because Balor was really exciting, all these chops and everything else. Then Hideo comes in and he's doing all these kicks, tags Balor back in. He does kind of like a springboard, like single stomp, into the ring. And then when the Ascension took control, what I loved about when the Ascension took control, it's like the entire makeup of the matchup completely changed.
Yep.
The pace changed. It really slowed down. Finn was really struggling, and actually it started, and I've got to give credit to Rick Victor, who you and I always, when we get a chance, say how phenomenal he is, got a wicked-looking uppercut on Balor.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's what really changed the dynamic, and then again, the pace completely changed. It just totally halted, and they were cutting the ring in half and doing all the things that I love to see from a heel tag team, and then I believe, it was Hideo that got the hot tag finally after Balor got the Pele kick, which is beautiful form, by the way. I think the only reason I still think Rollins has somewhat of a leg up on him is because of the setup with, pulling on the ropes, landing on his feet, and then getting it. So Itami gets the hot tag. He's kicking everybody. Doing all sorts of kicks to Victor, and I think Connor tried running in. He got disposed of. And I think the pop of the matchup, Ashton, we got it again, the second GTS tease from Itami.
I know, it keeps happening. At the next live special, he's going to whip it out.
Yeah, so that's what you think. You think they're gradually building toward it, like he'll tease it every so often, and then...
Yeah, it's a 3-month build-up. They started the build-up at TakeOver Our Evolution, and it's going to have a blow-off at the next TakeOver.
I am so happy about that, and I hope you're right, because, I don't want any of that, like, it's CM Punk's move or anything like that. He's gone now, so to me, the GTS is fair game.
Well, and on top of that, freaking Hideo Itami invented the move.
Exactly, so he's just taken back what was always his, to begin with. So, I actually really do agree with what you're saying. They're going to do with him in the GTS what they kind of did with Balor and the body paint, except it's going to get a lot more built, so when he finally connects with it, I think the roof's going to need repairs tomorrow morning. Because that crowd will explode. Yeah,
and you know what? The great thing is he didn't even need that to finish this match off tonight, because his finisher tonight was pretty freaking sick.
Yeah, it was like...
it was like a Trouble in Paradise on steroids.
Yeah, exactly. Great description. And we have to say, before that, Balor played exceptional defense because he did a double stop off the apron to Connor.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, it was great. So, Itami and Balor win again to ring in the first formal episode of NXT for 2015. And, the future is just looking so bright for both of these guys, especially Balor. But I'm not even sleeping on Itami. That's not trying to say, Itami when you compare to Balor. No, they're both exceptional. I just think Balor's got so much mileage as a babyface come his time on the main roster, whenever that is. Ridiculous, dude.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this, actually, during our year-end awards commentary, how much of an upside he has.
Oh, huge. And if you guys haven't seen that yet, please go check it out, because I thought we had some really fun discussions there. But, I can't wait for... Actually, you know what? No, No, because we say that, but then when we look at the history of guys that have gotten promoted, it doesn't always end well. So I can wait for him to debut on the main roster. Because I'm loving the work he's doing here with Itami. So yeah, keep dominating, guys.
Yep, absolutely. This was awesome. Episode of NXT was awesome. Not really a whole lot else to say. So if you want to move on to our next segment, go for it.
High spots and low shots, baby. I gotta say, my low shot is Carmella.
Yeah.
Actually, all things considered, she suffered her first loss tonight, which is something I didn't even really mention when we were talking about it initially. Yep. Enzo provided the distraction that we didn't mean to. It was completely inadvertent. And Blue Pants capitalized with the cradle and the win. So, yeah, Carmella had a pretty crappy night tonight.
All right, my low shot is Bull Dempsey because he's a failure at everything.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I can't really add anything to the discourse there. My high spot, you know what? I'm going to say my high spot are the Vaudevillains because they sent a message to the Lucha Dragons. They are in the driver's seat whenever their rematch takes place. And I mean, especially feeling stingy after the wrong man was pinned at their matchup at TakeOver or Evolution. Vaudevillains are focused and they had a great beatdown on the champions tonight.
And my high spot is simply Hideo Itami because he had a great showing. He took some of that spotlight that we all felt like Finn Balor kind of stole at NXT or Evolution, and he put some of it back on himself. And he did a great job of doing it, and he ended up winning the match for his team, and he just had a really great night, in my opinion.
I just want to say something very quickly, Ashton,
Sure.
to your point about Itami being your high spot. I think that him tagging with Finn is working because that clunkiness and awkwardness that we noted in his first few weeks,
yes.
I feel like it's vanishing.
Still is there. It still does exist. I noticed there were a few different moments where it was like he kind of threw a kick too early or too late, and it looked like it either hit too hard or it looked too light. And there's some stuff that he still needs to dial in, but he is definitely improving by buckets weekly.
Yeah, which is a great thing to say because when somebody's improving. I mean, we weren't giving up on him before, and now we really believe that he can come through and finish strong.
Right.
That said, why I wanted to just kind of just say something very quickly after your high spot. Next week is going to be an interesting test for Itami because he's by himself with Curtis Axel.
One-on-one with Curtis Axel, yeah. I look forward to seeing what kind of improvements he's made as a singles competitor.
Hopefully we note some. I don't want us to go into that review hopefully and say, well, we thought he improved, but it's still so awkward. I mean, and Curtis Axel, I think in ring is a solid worker, so I think he'll be a good barometer as well. I think all the pieces are in place to really test Itami and see how far he's come next week, so I'm definitely going to be very attentive to that. Yep. So, with that said, do you have anything else you want to say about this episode of NXT?
No, I already said my piece on it. It's very, very fun episode. I enjoyed it.
All right, guys. With that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John. That's my cohort and commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. Been loving the consistent feedback lately on all of our reviews. Keep them coming. What did you think of this week's episode of NXT? How much of an upside do you see in Blue Pants in the NXT Women's Division? Also carry the discussion over to TWitWoW, an amazing pro wrestling group. And we will see you again for our Monday Night Raw review, where the question presents itself: what fresh hell does the Authority have in store for the insurgents that drove them out in power in the first place? We'll see you there, guys.